Alright, I'm going to start on the first side here. I'm going to do scrubbing passes until I get a burr on the opposite side. Got a little bit of soapy water. Now for video purposes, demonstration purposes, I'm going a little bit faster than I normally would, but you can hear it. Got a burr formed along the entire edge. I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing. And here we got a burr formed on that, the opposite side along the entire edge. So I've got one burr that formed, flipped it over, formed another burr. Now I know it's fully apexed. Alright, this is going to be a hopefully a quick video on burr removal and also how to get your knife sharp at basically any grit, whether that's a real low grit like 140, 400 grit or 1000 grit, whatever, doesn't matter. I'm going to be using a just one stone for this. Chef Knives to Go 400 grit diamond, which is a fairly coarse stone, especially being diamond. It's going to be using a Mercer kitchen knife. It's an 8-inch chef's knife. I've already sharpened this knife. I've worked a burr up on each side, a nice heavy burr. See if we can see it here. So tip to heel, it's got a nice big fat burr on there. And it will still cut, you know, it's sharpened at a fairly low angle, but it's definitely hanging up. Not cutting cleanly just because it's got such a massive burr on there. Basically, when it comes time for burr removal, and you know, if you're using one stone only to sharpen, you're going to want to do it, you know, at the end of, you know, after you're done using that stone and before you move on to strops. If you're using a multiple grit progression like most people are going to be using, you don't need to do, you know, you don't need to worry about burr removal until your last stone. Now when it comes to removing the burr, it's rather simple, especially when you're using diamond stones, but the same for alumina type stones too. Is basically what you want to do, start at the heel, and you want to use very light into the edge passes, moving towards the tip, just like this. These edge leading passes will, with just one or two passes, will really quickly remove that burr. And as long as you're using nice light pressure, it shouldn't flip the burr over, it shouldn't create a new one on the other side, it should just remove it. And all you have to do is just flip it over, just do lighter and lighter into the edge passes. Right now I'm using just a tiny bit of pressure. As I go on, I'm going to get to the point where I'm just barely holding on to the stone using the lightest pressure that I can. Now some softer steels like this stainless, you create a big burr on this and it gets, pretty stubborn, pretty hard to remove. And this method will remove even the most stubborn of burrs. I don't care how stubborn, how big they are. Nice short into the edge passes will quickly remove it. I'm not really feeling any burrs left, so. I mean, there might be a very, very fine one I'm seeing there, but it's removed the vast majority of it. You can see how nice and clean that cuts. And the more basically you sit there and refine it with lighter and lighter pressure, the finer it'll get. And even with a 140 grit stone or 220 grit, you can get an edge on here that's sharp enough for 99% of your kitchen use. I mean, unless you're like a sushi chef or something, you need some extremely sharp edge for real detailed work. Even the coarse stones that are refined will give you a really, really sharp edge. And there's no burr left that I can feel on there. You can use it like that. You can do a little stropping. Either way, it's still nice and sharp. And that's all there is to it. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And thank you for watching.